Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting ready for our banger matchup of the night. It is Anyone's Legend taking on OMG, both 2-0 in the group. How awesome how this has worked out for today's schedule. It has all led up to, Game 5 being the most pivotal match of the group. This one will decide who advances into the playoff bracket stage. And then for those who, want to stick around and chill with us for game 6, that doesn't, matter that much. We're going to have a
meme. The meme game
here. We're stuck in this together, brother. We're going to be riding this wave out all the way until the very end.
Well, excited to see how that pans out, but I am more so excited for this upcoming match as the rest of us are. If you guys are tuning into this one, we got a banger on our hands. Anyone's Legends, OMG, 2-0 each. Winner moves on to face the BLG dev roster that is in this tournament. And OMG, it looked kind of meh tonight. I think that their macro, the way that they snowballed the grub advantage against Super Gaming wasn't great. They had a 30-minute game against the Old Men, which isn't a great look compared to the other Old Man performances that we've seen. And Anyone's Legends coming off of a blistering victory in this one, so we'll see if that can continue. As curiously banning out Zyra away from Tarzan, and the Victor hate continues from them because they don't want to see an R3 Victor come in.
Listen, man, there's just too much arcane on the timeline. I think
that champ's pretty damn good right now.
The Herald of the Arcane needs to be put down. No more glorious revolutions in my chat. As the Rumble, I really like this from Anyone's Legend because not only Rumble has been a very powerful champion in Demacia Cup so far, but also the fact that OMG earlier this morning, Hong pulled out a Rumble jungle flex, and just denying that flex potential away from them is just a good way to start off the draft.
No, I think it's a great highlight. Also, Flandre played this in the game earlier on against the Old Men in Super Gaming, so was a decent performance from him. That said, Ambessa being taken. We have seen Ambessa get a better half of some of these lanes, so curious if we have any flexes coming out for the side of Rumble and Anyone's Legends to maybe dodge out on this lane matchup. As Corki going to be picked up, Starry has had good performances on that today. Lingvon also had a good performance on that today, and Shanks just had a good performance on that in the last game. So a bit of a deny and comfort for OMG from what we've seen so far in the day.
Quick question. Do we see Corki bot?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, Starry played it in game 1. That said, if an Asher Varus comes out, that's definitely something that dissuades the Corki bot, as those are two marksmen that can space and be lane dominant against Corki. So if it is the Varus locked in for Hope, which it is now, for me, that pushes Corki a little bit more into the mid lane.
What if Starry says he's better and just takes the Corki matchup into Navarus?
I mean, I'm down to see it if that's the case.
Keeping things interesting. Keeping things interesting.
I mean, that's a decent point though, because if it ends up being Corki mid, it does kind of pitbull Hong into a AP jungler. So if he wants to take that now, he would have to, or else that pool could get narrowed if we do expect that Corki to be mid. So yeah, not surprised to see the Maokai here. We're expecting to see that Corki mid. Maokai, that big R button, going to bring a lot of engage and setup here for OMG.
Now, hold up, man. What if, hear me out, what if this Maokai gets flexed around? We have seen Maokai top in this tournament so far.
In a Rumble too. I don't like the matchup, but it's been played.
Yep. The Maokai can get flexed around. The Ambessa we've already seen in mid lane multiple times in the past couple of days in this group stage. The Corki still could go bot, although you've already pointed out that seems like a not ideal matchup for the Corki into the Varus, although it will be support dependent, and if they continue going down the line here on red side, they could save counter pick for support matchup if they're already content in either this Ambessa or the Maokai going into the Rumble. It would be pretty crazy if we saw the Rumble in any other lane with this allocation, because Vi is kind of just locked into jungle, unless you're a NA tier 3 supporter and saw some Skytech Vi back in the day, but I don't think Kyle is on that wave.
Yeah, probably not, as we do see. Curiously enough, the Akali ban is kind of interesting to me, because I was really expecting this to be Corki mid. Anyone's Legends still kind of questioning if it's going to be Corki mid or not. And the Poppy coming in, Poppy makes a little bit more sense to me. Also, more of a potential for Rel being opened up now for Kyle, if that ends up being the pick. But Yeah, I was really surprised to see the Akali ban. I feel like that's almost a bit of a throwaway, as they could have banned something like Ashe, but apparently they want to play that matchup in what I expect to be Poke Varus. These R buttons going to be very important for anyone's Legends if they want to execute cleanly against OMG, because if it is Poke Varus, they are going to be on a clock.
Now, this does kind of show a majority of the cards here for OMG. With Ashe being locked in, you would imagine that now Corki and Mbessa are locked into mid and top lane respectively. That being said, Maokai could still be flexed to support if the matchup is okay for it, and there's something that Hong really wants to spice things up with in the jungle. Just having to wait for the rest of anyone's legend composition to show. Orianna being locked in, just add a little bit of extra magic damage, and the utility with the ball and the shield on any of the divers like Vi is always going to help. You can guarantee a shockwave delivery system with cease and desist. And if you add Rakan into the mix, now you're making sure that Vi has a dive buddy to go with, because, you know, in the past, anytime that Vi has to solo ult into a team without any, you know, proper follow-up, it does feel pretty daunting task for the Vi if you're not massively snowballed ahead.
Yeah, I like that shout out, and Rakan being a stronger ball carrier. For me, of course, Vi can carry it, but you do knock people out of the way on your way into the target for cease and assist. Rakan, not the case. You bunch him up with the charm of the Grand Entrance. So Nautilus being taken will give a little bit of a strong lane matchup for OMG, as Not has good interactions with Rakan, able to cancel the Grand Entrance, and Not being rather lane dominant in his own right, as well as that depth charge into a squishier team could provide real value. So I do like the Not pick here. Of course, now you have the choice of hope. Do I go cleanse against Ashe Maokai, or do I take barrier because Nautilus is just going to knock me up anyway with depth charge to make things a little bit more difficult for him? As the scaling of OMG, I think, is stronger with the Corki Ashe and the Maokai. So more onus on anyone's Legends early on to utilize the big art tools they have in what we expect to be this Poke Varus, the Orianna, the Vi, the Rumble, and the Rakan to make sure that they get a lead early.
Yeah. It doesn't really seem like there's been many opportunities for any of our Varus performances to go on hit or normal kind of attack speed Varus, because opting into that puts you into a shorter effective range against a lot of these compositions. And with so many of these engaged threats and the CC that's flying your way, you really rather stay couple screens away, if not one screen away, while just throwing out piercing arrows and hoping that you're poking and chipping away at your opposition.
Yeah, you don't want to be the on-hit marksman going into Ashe plus Corki that can both interact with that range, when you could just play at the range and do significant damage to those squishies. So that will be the goal for Hope. We did see him rack up a player of the game against Super Gaming earlier on in the day on this Poke Varus, where he got massively fed in that game. I think he was 12-1-7 when it all came to an end. We'll see if he can have a good performance here to make sure that they secure the win and secure the group.
This is, you know, just to reiterate for everyone at home, this is the big matchup. This is the fight night, you know, cream of the crop. I'm not familiar with the terminology, man. You're gonna have to.
No, you're good. The 2-2-0 teams.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, if I cannot express how excited I am that the schedule did work out this way, that, you know, the matchups kind of later on after the second half felt like we were building towards, you know, this epic throwdown between the two dominant teams in the group, where now this is going to put everything on the line in a best of one, where winner takes all going into the playoff bracket stage.
Yeah, onto the roof for this one, and for me, a lot of eyes going to be on OMG, as they've got the Ashe and they've got the Nautilus, and they're looking to push Tarzan out early, potential to dictate the map. I've seen Mbessa in a lot of lane swap scenarios, so can't really say who'd be more effective there between her or Rumble, but these words certainly tell me that lane swap might be on the table here for OMG.
Please no. Not the lane swap meta again.
You've seen a few.
Oh no. Well, I've been pretty lucky to not have to cast one so far. I do like scrapping, and I do like some action. We might just get it. Moham leads the charge with that little hook on the Kael. Two-man Grand Entrance on the 2, but now he's forced to flash. The Ignite is ticking down. Shanks also forced to flash over that Raptor wall. But the rest of OMG now starting to realize, with Flandre showing up, they're like, guys, why is the top lane here and our top lane is not? That makes no sense for the side of OMG, but they get punished for it anyway, and anyone's legend leading the game momentum with first blood for Tarzan.
The harpoons, was the difference maker for anyone's legends being able to push that lead through between the slows from that, the slows from the E from Varus. Kael also doing a nice job of landing the grand entrance and using his health bar to at least keep OMG stuck in place. That first blood does go over to Tarzan, who has enough health to easily get through his camps. Good start for anyone's legends with that early kill going on to the player of the game and carry of the last one in Tarzan.
And I think that was just so deceptive from Flandre to be showing up to that fight. I don't even know how many minions he missed on his way back up since he opted out of teleporting there. But OMG, I mean, they probably were just as surprised as we were going, whoa, 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 why is Flandre here? He's not starting in lane. And then that completely throws out the calculation of that early all-in from them trying to make that invade happen. And while Flandre down 1 CS, as you called it, in terms of experience, I think that is such a worthy trade. And
oh, yeah.
We're going to have to see if Harry can actually punish that, which is it's such a small advantage. I don't think it's going to be possible. Is now Tarzan. Ooh, I thought he was going to try to go for the Q flash. Normally, when you're looking for ganks as this Vi, you can play that.
No, he's got Recon coming. This is the
Kyle,
setup.
they've already beat it out, the Valkyrie. So now they can get a guaranteed flash on the list. Unless, wow, Lin Fong, Balls of Steel, just says, you know what? I am not going to flash. I'm just going to take this damage, and I will probably recall and just go for a teleport instead.
Yeah, still TP burn. That's really nice for Shanks. Missing flash himself, but Shanks now will have a better recall to get back into this lane. And like the focus and the timers being used by Tarzan to set up Kyle, that was really clever coming in. Has opened a potential angle for Rakan to find something under Linfong, but props to Linfong, as you highlighted, Raafaa, holding it onto his spell, or his big spell and flash, in order to get out of that one. And now, I mean, a lot of focus is going to have to be on the grubs that spawn here in a couple minutes, because the big thing for Flandre, for me, is saving that TP. That does open up a grub swap or grub play, which could be really good for anyone's legend. With that walk up top, and this is a very early recall coming in from Starry, a little bit too early to swap. So I think Starry's going to walk back bot, and with anyone's legends having the later crash on the bot lane, opportunity for them to rotate that bot lane top to set up the grub is going to be on the table.
Yeah, and that's exactly my mindset too. The fact that they could now slowly stack up this wave, get a big crash in, it's going to force Starry and potentially Moham to absorb that wave so they're not missing too much experience. And that will be, you know, a minute and a half and away, right in time for that first rotation of grub spawn. So anyone's legend already setting up the map pretty much everywhere to have that first set piece in their favor.
Yeah, Moham being spotted. Tarzan going to keep on clearing out his camps undeterred, as Tarzan got a very big clear off, which is matched by Hong, as both junglers ended up going for mirrored clears. Going to be finished up at similar times. But when the camps respawn here, blue side, of course, Wolves, Gromp will be spawning for each of our junglers, but one just so happens to be on the side of Grubs. The other one so happens to not be on the same side. So advantage, again, going over to anyone's legends. And all eyes for me on Hope and Kyle. What happens when they get this wave in? Do they swap? Do they walk up? They need a base. I think we're going to see Hope base, and we'll see where he goes from there.
Yeah, and they definitely have the time to do so. They still have about 45 seconds, 35 seconds before the first rotation of grubs does spawn.
They're really chilling though.
Already cycling his camps from bot to top. He's naturally going to be pathing towards the top side of the map. However, we're actually seeing Tarzan either go for an early dragon before they go for the
yeah.
I guess Tarzan is actually threatening a dive here, just hovering, hoping Kyle on this crash to make sure that Hong cannot punish, and he's going to use this pressure alleviated by his bot lane to push Hong out of the jungle, getting a flash out of him as well. That's going to make that objective fight even more easy for the side of anyone's legend.
I love Tarzan, man. This is the timer where you're expecting to go for grubs. I think that OMG, realizing they have the weaker early grubs fight, trying to look for a play elsewhere. Tarzan reads that, goes bot, gets a flash out of Malachi, takes a camp away from him, and then he just gets to take a lazy stroll through mid. No pressure, with top being continuously pushed in with the Rumble versus the Ambessa. They don't even need to rotate their bot lane up and try and find a numbers advantage that way for Grubs. They can just lean on the matchups that they drafted for themselves to make sure this goes in their favor.
Wow, this is such excellent map play from the side of anyone's legend. The fact that you can alleviate the burden of needing the rest of your teammates to rotate on over for a set piece play like the Grubs means that Hope and Kyle can maintain the pressure on that bot lane turret, not have to back as early once they crash. They push Sorry and Moham off, even denying more experience and more CS, so it extends the lead of this already somewhat accelerated Varus and Rakan after they had that freeze and slow crash. So this is just setting up natural advantages without having to actually fight and get kills for it on the side of anyone's legend.
Yeah, just a great understanding of the Tarzan, what he has at his disposal, the options, and how he can really cash in on what was a winning bot lane. Of course, Hope, at the time, he had a much better base than Ashe, and they were really chipping away at those health bars. When you have that poke Varus and the Rakan to boot, really easy to step up and trade with the Hellblade, sustain that health if you land a couple of Rakan Qs, which that 1-point wonder ability, rather nice for the lane phase, and you saw anyone's legends cash in on that with good play from Tarzan, doing a play that I feel like OMG was setting up, just give the Grubs instead. The Grubs are given, but Tarzan gets so much more than just that by going bot first. Really, really smart.
Yeah, the fact that he pushed him off the Gromp and he was still level 5 afterwards means that then if I'm still level 5 as Tarzan after this Gromp, then there's no way that Hung is going to be, level 6 at this Grubs, and therefore the one thing I would have to worry about as Vi is if the Maokai ultimate is available for a turn, but, removes all potential variables of a upset for OMG. And now that anyone's legend have completely taken all the resources on the top side of the map, naturally shifting their strongest members toward the bottom side of the map, and now you can play for this dragon.
Yeah, slow push set up really nicely from Hope and Kyle as they're going to get this wave in, and this should go over uncontested yet again. Now, it is important to note, is anyone Legends playing out a great map? Yes, they are. But the scaling, we favor for OMG. They have the Maokai, they have the double marksman DPS setup, so they can afford to drop a few of these. It's just a bend, not break scenario here for OMG, and so far, I think anyone's Legends is playing this map out fantastically, but OMG, it's not like they're out of the game just from being down at this point. They do scale very nicely in this one.
Yep. OMG just have to, I think the term is lose gracefully for the next few minutes and try to give up as least resources as possible over to anyone's legend. If it does mean having to give up a camp, let a wave crash, be a little behind in XP and CS, so be it. They'd rather that scenario happen than, trying to ego anyone's legend on any of these, plays or any of these setups for the side of this bot lane, and then get punished even more for it, and then the gold deficit just balloons out of recovery.
Speaking of gold deficits ballooning, bot lane, we see Starry being zoned off here. Tarzan has yet to even show, but the respect from OMG. Hung not in position to cover a potential dive. They were able to pick up the scraps of that wave, but now Hung's going to come and get the bad news as Vi indeed hovering the bot lane, and these trades still going in favor of anyone's legends as the poke Varus plus the sustain from Rakan cashing in as this lead continues to balloon and grow in favor of Hope and Kyle.
Yeah, the Serrated Dirk purchase already paying its dividends for Hope. Yes, it's on a fully completed item, but that extra bit of early lethality for Varus, as they have now, what, I want to say 3-4 points into Q. Is Harry okay? Okay, dodges the equalizer. That was the big, if variable there. As Tarzan still pressuring OMG's bot lane and jungle away. It looks like
that's an R.
A lot of damage. They're engaging cease and desist right on the Hung. They know his flash should not be available, but he is not going to get out alive. The flash just barely came off cooldown just to die. They find Moham in the back half, and now Linfong needs to be able to turn this head. New flash hits Linfong in the mouth. Oh my goodness, Tarzan, you beautiful beast.
Wow, I cannot believe the day that we are seeing from Tarzan. He has been a monster. I do want to give credit to Kyle. He got caught out by the Nature's Grasp there from Maokai, but the bounce back on that engage, ended up finding a really good one. Bought time to get out, but My God, that Q flash from Tarzan to react like that, to save your support.
Sexy.
On point in the early season, has not lost a step from Summer. Kyle, yes, he gets caught there, flashes over the ECA. Look at this response, though. Ease to Vi. The W, he ends up getting pushed back by the Bramble Smash, but doesn't get that W canceled, ends up following through in the end. The TP did come down from Shanks, which ends up finding that one, but this reaction, the sidestep, the Q flash to find the face of Linfong. Yes, Kyle falls to the volley, but with space in the Corki. Beautifully played from Tarzan, Kyle, and anyone's Legends to get as much as they could out of that. As bot turrets fallen, second grubs, what are in the sights of AL, as they are currently in the sights of OMG on a word. Then Fong's going to give that one away. But grubs are being taken. Could be a 6-grub start for AL. And honestly, the first domino of the top hole for them, finding the win in this group.
What was so impressive for me for Tarzan's Q flash was he was already winding up the vault breaker. I'm not sure if they saw or had information that Linfong was rotating over because there's no wards, but just great game sense. Now, OMG are trying to force this fight. Harry with a TP flank on the right side. TP coming in for anyone's Legend in the Baron pit. They secure what I believe all 6 grubs for the side of anyone's Legend. And Moham might be, great equalizer. Starry is getting cooked alive, forced to flash away as Tarzan is now leading the charge. Still has cease and desist available. Is not going to pull the trigger. Linfong could be the target as he is completely isolated from the rest of his team. Everyone left him to die under this tier 1 turret. And anyone's Legend, Matt. I don't want to say it yet. I don't want to say it yet. It's 13 minutes into the game, but it's a 5,000 gold advantage. This could be the game.
Yeah, I think you can say it. This is 6 grubs. I want to see if anyone's Legends can play out this advantage better than OMG did earlier in the day, too. As when you get 6 grubs, it's all about overloading sides and forcing the enemy to either respond or eat it. Keep in mind, anyone's Legends, they have a massive lead now, but their champ's stronger at the moment. I want to see them continue to keep the pressure up on OMG and balloon this gold lead to do what you can do when you have that big grub advantage. As this fight, OMG kind of have to fight to try and deny the 6 grub. That said, everything kind of goes sideways as Depth Charge doesn't find Kyle. He's able to kite that one out. Beautiful return of the Chain of Corruptions on the Moham. Makes it easy. Chase down the Nautilus, and then, yeah, that equalizer in the choke, as you called out, Raafaa. Really, really nice. They just completely split OMG on the retreat. And, good finds by everyone here from anyone's Legends, as early in the preseason, things are firing on all points for these guys.
Cubby, do we start selling the anyone's Legend propaganda right now? Do we start marketing it?
I mean, this was a team that you asked about their performance earlier on, and by the way, they're playing out grubs correctly, which I love to see. Just go hit Ninner as a group. Yeah, group up, force the issue. This was a team that was just outside of making worlds, took 5th, 6th in summer, changed out 2 pieces, kept the core of Shanks, Hope, and Kyle, end up incorporating Fondre and Tarzan, 2 players that have found so much success in their career of LPL. Fondre really just being a role player, and Tarzan being a Swiss Army knife from the jungle, just an absolute monster, and a big part of the success of Weibo in the past split as well. It feels like anyone's Legends kind of kept the core of what was working, incorporated something they feel like can work, and everything is firing early on.
Just so impressive and so awesome to see a well-oiled, seemingly machine from the side of anyone's Legend. Obviously, we know that Shanks, Hope, and Kyle is still the returning core for this roster, and they're putting in a new jungle and top lane. But, you know, a jungler can make or break a team in whenever they move into a new roster, because having to be able to find that line of communication, what works well for you, being able to move with support, being able to move with mid lane is so important to modern competitive League of Legends nowadays. And, you know, for Tarzan to already either seemingly be so well synergized with Kyle and Shanks, or just the communication is so strong and effective from him individually that it's so easy for Shanks and Kyle to follow up, is a great sign of things to come for anyone's Legend going into LPL Spring 2025.
Yeah, I mean, so many rosters formed are exciting. I mean, so many people excited about the JDG team that did 1-2 Cancun this tournament, but, you know, that happens.
Unlucky.
Yeah, very unlucky. They did not play like they deserved it, but, is what it is. You have this roster forming. You have small changes happening to... oh, hold on. Shanks. Good ECA.
Great arrow. It sets up the death charge. This could be a way for OMG to get back to get some shutdown gold. Big bounty on the Shanks. And now the rest of anyone's legend, they got to turn tail. It's the rest of OMG. I'm not going to be able to lock down any other stragglers here for anyone's legend. They get out of effective engage range, but nice way for OMG to still stay mentally composed and try to find their way back into this game. It's going to be a uphill battle if they can pull it off, because it is still a 6,000 gold deficit, but taking Shanks off the map, this does give you priority for Rift Herald unless anyone's legend. I spoke too soon, Matt. Shanks is going to be coming up in 4 seconds, has TP available. Flandre coming in, equalizer right on the top, and Starry doesn't have flash from the fight before, just completely cooks him to a crisp. And anyone's legend, they're roasting everyone else on the back half. OMG. Oh my god, this was so unfortunate. They were maybe hopeful that they could take the Rift Herald off of one successful pick, but anyone's legend proved them wrong.
Nah, it takes way too long for them to do Rift at this point. They just had to fix their lanes, especially with Shanks and Flandre both having TP available. You could see that the collapse that came in and a beautiful equalizer from Flandre made that fight easy for anyone's legends as the push continues. Mid-inner will fall, and this gold lead continues to balloon because of the 6 grub advantage and a good play from anyone's legends.
See, Cubby, this is why I'm low elo, because I also thought that OMG were totally safe to do this play, but they burned so many ultimates to make the prior pick happen that anyone's legend, they see this play and like, guys, they're down like 3 or 4 ultimates. This is illegal. We must punish this.
That's just a beautiful ult from Flandre. That TP, perfect location to the sumless, ultless Ashe, just roast at the hands of the Rumble. And when the fight gets totally split like that, and you have people TPing in, able to form the angles that are winning for anyone's legends, it's pretty tough to fight against, as OMG, they do have a lot of scaling, but it doesn't look like they're going to get to use it later on in this one as Rift goes over. Kyle looking to make the great escape, which he will do so successfully. And now it's just going to be about the Baron setup here, as AL is going to continue to snowball this lead.
Yeah, we're at 18.5 minutes into the game, Matt, and OMG in a situation where damned if you do, damned if you don't. They were down 6,000 gold. They made the pick. They got a little bit of gold back and kind of shored up that gold deficit to 5,500. They're now down 8,000 gold off the play that anyone's legend made, punishing them for overextending themselves on the map, trying to greed for more than that they could actually take. And it's not the 10,000 gold deficit, a point of no return for the side of OMG, but we're getting awfully darn close. And with the 3rd dragon coming up in the next minute, Baron, as you called out, in the next 45 seconds, I imagine that with a combination of these objectives, anyone's legend should just be 1 or 2 fights away from closing this game out.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope for next season that we nerf grubs. I because what you were describing with the gold lead ballooning, a lot of that is just accentuated by the fact that grubs do so much damage now to turrets, and a lot of teams, again, we saw Worlds, these teams figured out the meta. It was play for 4, 5, 6 grubs, go overload a side lane, and just win out on the turret war. And anyone's legends did a wonderful job of doing that. They've done it in all 2 of the 3 lanes now, and looking to do it in all 3 lanes as top inner is on their sights. Good dodge in the engage from Kyle as OMG reaching.
That was beautifully done by Kyle. Absorbs the Nature's Grasp, and everyone is single file line, so no one else gets rooted up. And then he's able to safely battle dance back away so that no one from OMG can actually effectively engage onto the members of anyone's legend. Rift Herald only does get 1 charge into the inner tower, but it puts it into 50% HP. And Flandre starting to flank OMG right below that top side of the map. Harry is trying to answer back. Oh, they're going to look for the catch on the Flandre. They know he doesn't have flash. Does he have stasis from the Zhonya's build? I didn't get a chance to check the inventory, but we don't have the answer to that question yet because he just walks over to the safety of his team, throwing out the equalizer, and that forced the rest of OMG to back away. And Hong, you cannot stay in the jungle when the rest of your teammates abandon vision as the rest of anyone's legend punish this walking tree.
And this map for AL is just too good. They even had a wave crashing in bot. Corki cleaning up under the inhibitor turret now and taking Smite off the board. Dragons up. They don't care. It's all about the Baron.
Can OMG turn this? They still have Ashe Arrow Corki would have to put in so much work with these rockets trying to poke them off. TP is coming in for Flandre. No equalizer available, but he's just going to use himself as a bodyguard. Good public execution by Harry trying to lock down Flandre. Kyle and Flandre are chunked out of the fight, but Starry is obliterated by the shockwave thanks to Shanks. And now the rest of anyone's legend, they turn off the Baron. The Baron will not be taken anytime soon since Hong is back on the map, but they are still strong enough to go for the Dragon instead.
Good turn by anyone's legend. That shockwave from Shanks, that ball position was just too good. I thought the opening to the fight was decent from Harry coming out, but Shanks shut any hope of that fight down by the press of that R key. Sucking OMG back in, finding the kills, and now the Baron was the first objective, you know, with Smite down, but ended up being a Baron bait. Turns onto the Dragon, and AL continues to push forward.
Take a look back at the replay once again. As you called out, they open onto Flandre, but then it's all about Shanks' ball positioning, finding this immaculate shockwave, pulling Starry.
Yeah, and with that terrain too, like that is a choke when it's this barren terrain. Just really, really well done by Shanks, using the ball to control the max amount of terrain threat. Starry walking through that choke was not available against the Orianna. Again, do want to give props to Harry. That was a nice opening of the fight from the public execution, getting out of the grand entrance and putting down the good damage with the cube. Just not even close to being enough.
Man, these past couple of fights I've been really wanting to pop off. However, it is 4:38 a.m. and my family is sleeping, so I'm trying to be as hype as I can without waking up the whole neighborhood. But man, I'm getting so tempted, Matt.
Dude,
you can hear me. If we were still living together, you know, I would not give a damn. I would be sending it to the Valhalla in the high heaven right now.
You could be like Billie Eilish, be the first mumblecaster, you know.
I like that one. Just ASMR hype casting.
Yeah, Baron is at half as OMG going to try and hype it up to get in there. Andre.
Yeah, Starry's immediately forced the flash. Throws out the arrow, stops the engage in its tracks, but not enough for Mohan to get out safely. Harry onto the back line, trying to find something, but just does not enough damage. Unfortunately, Harry never got to the point where Mbessa all over them. And OMG too far behind, 11,000 gold deficit. Anyone's legend just completely running away with the game at this point. And, you know, 24 minutes in, I don't know if it's going to be a sub 25-minute win to add up to the other sub 25-minute wins they've had on the day, but really impressive showing for anyone in their Demacia Cup debut.
I don't care about the timer. I just care about the fact this is clean. As I love Hope there. The piercing arrow on the Maokai went wide, but he was trying to guess the flash from Hong. You'll see that in the back half of the replay. But again, I was a little bit surprised that anyone's legends fully committed to the turn. I thought they could have had this one, but the equalizer, pretty nice start there from Flandre. Chain of Corruptions does connect, and Harry just the full focus after Mohan falls. No one's going to let that Mbessa get going here, as once that happens, rest of the fight quite easy. And then here's the flash attempt. I like that one from Hope, just in case he went over the wall. It's like, nope, because he was dead anyway. So that's good plays there from Hope. Good, what we look for from some of our lethality marksman abusers is Hong.
Zoning arrow. Hong might be zoned into his death. Still has a flash. Wait for the cease and desist before finally using his flash on the ultimate. And the equalizer is going to cut off his escape route, and Lin Fong is also in trouble. Has to wait for the equalizer to time out before committing the Valkyrie and the flash away. Does escape. Can't say the same about Starry. He did not have his flash before. Hope wants a piece of that Corki butt pie, and he gets it with the piercing arrow in the back, flashing forward for that chain of corruption setup. And anyone's legend is going to clean this out in style. 3-0 in Demacia Cup for their group stage debut. OMG, so close yet so far. We'll be ending the group stage at 2-1. Full ace for anyone's legend. GG, well played.
I mean, if you're cultured and been tuning into the rest of the Demacia Cup, one might say that anyone's legends looks like Thunder Talk, and OMG looks like JDG there, Raafaa.
Oh, well,
Ooh.
Now, I don't know if we can give OMG the foundational props and expectations that JDG had coming into the tournament, since it was such a not only massive rebuild, but also a notable rebuild with so many, you know, big names like Scout and Shun coming on to JDG. However, you are correct that, you know, OMG so close unfortunately, not enough to get over that finish line and make it to the playoff bracket stage. Still want to give credit to them for their earlier performances out today, earlier in the day. But anyone's legend, my goodness, Tarzan having a ball on this team. Flandre also really, both of these guys, the jungle and top lane, adjusting so well and acclimating to the team environment, you know, without any real problems so far that we've seen.
Yeah, I will say I don't feel like the competition was the best in this group for them. I do think that in the end, looking back, it's pretty AL favored, but hey, we'll see what BLG's dev team can do against these guys. And after that, we'll see if anyone's legend is able to surpass them, what they can do in this tournament going up against stiffer competition, because it didn't feel like they were really pressured at all today outside of the level 1 from up. So, but hey, if you're an AL fan or a fan of any of these players, this is really all you could hope for in terms of a debut. Again, the goal of this roster, keeping what works and putting it with pieces that have worked historically for LPL teams and players that are very moldable in terms of fitting what already exists in both Flandre and Tarzan. Really feel like we saw the best of that today with anyone's legends as they secure their spot in the next part of the tournament.
Yeah, and, you know, I appreciate you bringing us back down to earth with the expectations that, you know, this group, probably not the toughest competition for anyone's legend to prove themselves against, but I will always take confidence-building games to start off a new roster in any tournament that kind of, you know, gets everyone into the good vibe state. And, you know, we've seen so many successful teams in the history of League of Legends. Sometimes at their peak, it's when all the vibes are clicking well. And what better way to get those vibes going by, you know, having a 3-0 debut start in the group stage and making a way into the playoff bracket stage. Now, before we continue to give more flowers over to anyone's legend, I want to give one last credit to OMG. 2-1 to end the group stage day. I'm gonna be honest, you know, I didn't have that many expectations for OMG. I was, you know, maybe I was misinformed, but I was looking at Ultra Prime to be the second harder heavy hitter in this group, but they managed to pull out 2-1. And you know what, Cubby? None of their losses, or their loss was not less than 16 minutes and 24 seconds, which means that they did better than RNG against IG. So that's always a W in my book.
True. We did see some decent looks from OMG today. I really like that long rumble, the flex that we saw from them.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I thought Harry Zambessa was okay in some of these fights, which is good. That champ's probably going to be good for at least winter or maybe spring. We'll see what happens with Riot and the numbers on that one. But also, I mean, for anyone's legends, I know we said this wasn't the stiffest competition for them, but we also saw JDG, another team that a lot of people were excited about, again, go 1-2 Cancun and bomb out of this tournament. So AL living up to the expectations, being dominant in this group is a good look for them. We'll see what happens with them as they move forward.
Now, you've been saying 1-2 Cancun a couple times.
Oh, you don't know this meme?
No.
Oh,
no.
Okay. This is a good sports meme, and I was saying it because I was casting with Yanni that day. But the joke, if you get like 4-0'd in an NBA tournament, so TNT, they have a show with like a bunch of ex-pros and Hall of Famers. It's like Chuck, Shaq inside
like
the NBA.
Going early vacation, like
yeah. So it except for NBA, it's 1-2-3 Cancun, and like you'll have Chuck sitting there on the broadcast like 1-2-3 Cancun, like just flaming teams. It's pretty funny. Yeah, they won 2 Cancun.
Yeah, speed run, airport any percent, early vacation. Yeah, that all adds up. Oh my! I
do want to say before we leave this game, shout out to Kyle. I think Kyle for me is the support that I'm really hopeful for this upcoming year in LPL. Again, I remember him playing with Prince in Live Sandbox. Thought he was really strong there as a young player. Last year, I thought Kyle was like decent, and against Moham, a player that was at Worlds, did come from D+. Kyle had a very strong showing this game with Hope, and definitely a support that I have my eyes out on. I thought he was really strong since Live Sandbox, and Rakan, a champ that I'm used to seeing Kyle do very well on. That Renata, I think, the strongest champs for Kyle. Excited to see what he looks like this next year for AL. I think of all the pieces, he's probably the least hyped, being a support and just given his background, but he's one of the pieces that I'm very excited about in this team.
You know what? That puts a new lens and frame for me on Kyle, because I was, you know, just kind of alliterating him to you with some of the the awkward engages. He did play a much better game in this one against OMG. But you know what? Even more respect. You know, any support that plays with Prince and, you know, makes it out on the other side, you know, unscathed and mentally better, you know, props to them, you know. And you know what? Shout out to Flandre for MVP, and very well deserved. I mean, Tarzan also had a fantastic Vi game once again, but I think this time the spotlight definitely on Flandre to turn so many key fights in this game on that Rumble.
I would have given this one to Tarzan again, just for that initial bot lane play we saw, or honestly Kyle, but Flandre did have some really nice moments in this, so well deserved. And again, 2 of the new pieces for Anyone's Legends picking up Pogs in the last 2 games. Good sign for AL fans.
Yep. Great way to start for this new roster. And for us, that concludes game 5. We technically have one more game. For anyone who is, you know, concerned if they need to watch this game to see implications, technically, no, you can go to bed early on, or you can, you know, go continue. But you know what? This is game 6. We're going to have a blast. Me and Cubby are potentially going to go off the rails. I can't say what exactly is going to happen, but you definitely don't want to miss it, so stay tuned.